Hey everybody. So we're finally kind of slipping into European ancestry here. I don't know if I'm gonna be making a lot of videos on European ancestry because a lot of people are educated on European culture and stuff like that. So that's kind of why I don't go really into a lot of European videos on or a lot of videos on my European ancestry because a lot of people are familiar with European culture. However, I've realized, a lot in my mom's side of the family, there's no sign of Scandinavian roots. We know we're Irish, we know we're French, we know we are Spanish and Portuguese, and that's about it. Because our Spanish and Portuguese comes from our Latin American roots. French comes from, I believe, the Louisiana Creole in us, and the Irish comes from our grandmother. But I think that's just comes from her. I mean, it's just another part of the mixture. I don't think really. I mean, you know. Um, so I've been looking at results, and I'm 0.1% Scandinavian, which is very very small. But it's still there, but it's just very 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 small. And this did pop up on Ancestry the first time I ever took a test, and it disappeared. And it's not on Ancestry right now. However, it did pop up in. Um, it popped up in 23andMe. It went away, and then it came back. And I looked at Ancestry results, and I looked at like my relatives, and the majority of my relatives on my father's side have Swedish roots. They have like Norway on there. And so I'm guessing that this small amount of blood comes from my father's side, not my mother's, because I was first thinking it came from my mother, but I didn't know where it was spotted. But it actually most likely comes from my father's side. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it comes from my father's side because I've made connections with the people on my father's side who have Norway, and my mother's side does not have Norway. And maybe I'll have to look back and see if they do, but from what I see, they don't have Norway. They have exactly what we said we have, but my father's side is what has Norway. So let me go here to like just Norway and just some pictures of Norway is beautiful. That's very beautiful. Um, it's a very pretty place. I'll have to view more pictures. And if I'm going to like union between Sweden and Norway, Sweden, Norway, or Sweden, Norway, Swedish, Norwegian is officially the United Kingdom of Sweden and Norway, whereas the United Kingdom was a personal union of the separate kingdoms of Sweden and Norway under a common monarch and common foreign policy that lasted from 1814 until its peaceful dissolution in 1905. So the two states kept separate constitutions, laws, legislators, administrations, state churches, armed forces, and currencies. The kings mostly resided in Stockholm, where foreign diplomatic representations were located. The Norwegian government was presided over by viceroys, Swedes until 1829, Norwegians until 1856, and that office was later vacant and then abolished in 1873. Foreign policy was conducted through the Swedish Foreign Ministry until the dissolution of the Union in 1905. So, um, let's look at Swedish people really quick. And I think what's funny is I know where my Swedish roots come from. Other than just it maybe being on my father's side, I know that uh, in 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 my family, I found a distant cousin um, who has Swedish roots, and I found her come up under my relatives as this is your Swedish roots connection. So she actually most likely is related on my father's side. And I thought she was related on my mother's side, but no, she's not. She's not related on my mother's side at all. Which is interesting. Because I would have never known that, but it started to make sense when I was starting to go through these videos, the the results and kind of see like, oh goodness, you know, this is my Swedish roots, you know. So I said, oh wow, you know, that's really interesting to be able to find your, maybe what side of the family it comes from, most likely. So that was just interesting. You know, but it's interesting. Um, Let me see. But yeah, Sweden is a very beautiful place. The flag is very beautiful, and the people are very beautiful. But I thought that was just an interesting thing to find out, and I'll keep doing research in it. But I think my father's side has Swedish roots. All right, guys. Bye.